Hello, hello, hello. We have a new world record, 929. And so I figured, hey, it's been 3 years since the last deep dive video. Not only is there a new record, but there's also a lot of new strats used in these any percent runs. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'll make another deep dive video. Maybe it'll be cool. Also, I've gotten a lot better at commentary over that time, so hopefully I will be yapping a little bit less this time, you know? So yeah, let's just get straight to it. Again, just like the last one, I'm only going to be covering the new strats. I'm not going to go over everything else. You can watch the older versions if you want to see all that. But, so we're going to get started right away. We're going to go in the order of the levels. So we're going to start with level 5. There are a couple changes here that I want to mention. So let me hop into the game. Ooh, I'm a little laggy right now. Haha, this will be fun. Maybe I'm going to lower my quality just to make it a bit easier to play. That's way better. Holy cow. First things first. In my very first deep dive video, I talked about how to do this jump here. And what I said is I would throw the box, stall a little bit, and then jump on the box. Because, let me see if I can do this backward. Because if there's a very small window that you can actually use to land on the box. If you're a little bit too early, the box won't go far enough. Like, actually that might work. But let's just say it was too far to the left. I wouldn't be able to pick it up again, and I wouldn't be able to use it later on. But if I threw it too late, then I would have to, or I wouldn't have to do anything. I would die, and that's bad. So I decided, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stall, save that extra effort, right? I do it now, and there's a reason why. Hopefully I can pick this up. It's because, remember how in a box jump, obviously you land on the box again, but in the newer version that I talked about in the most recent installment of the series, if you don't buffer the jump, your speed while you're walking on the box will be your rightward speed, or horizontal speed, plus the speed that the box is going at. I can't really demonstrate that here, but trust me on that. And obviously that works in box jumps because you can get a lot more distance with your jump. But in this case, we would just use it to go a little bit faster. It's like a nice quick little speed boost. So let me try that. Yeah, just like that. So you might have seen it. You can rewind it if you didn't see it. But I got a little speed boost off of the box there for that exact reason I just mentioned. Obviously, it didn't quite work out in this situation because the box is too far. However, when done correctly, this is a nice little time save. And also, not only does it save the time from the actual little box boost itself, but also, you don't need to stall, right? And also, I don't think it's possible to do anyway if you stall. So I'm going to do it one more time. There, that was right. And I got the nice little boost, and I think I can pick it up from here. Oh, can I not? Oh, I don't think I can. Try one more time. There we go, that was good. And that was close enough so that I can pick it up. So that's what I do now. All this here is the same, but there's one more thing at the end. Actually, I guess I could talk about this quickly as well. There is a strat that Copper Salts kind of showed me before, or while I was doing the grind for the record. But it wasn't super consistent enough for me yet, so I didn't actually do it in the run. But I'll quickly go over it. Normally, can you see my cursor on here? I gotta make sure this is, you can't. Let me change this real quick. Un momento. Where's the cursor? Cursor. Okay. I don't know where to find it. So, we're gonna do no cursor. This might be a little hard to explain. But, when you go down here, so there's the ledge. If I'm falling down here, you can imagine I hit that left ledge. Like, because my hitbox is bigger with the box, that's something to worry about. So what you can do instead is just hit on the ceiling, so that way you accelerate down at a faster rate to avoid that. I think it also helps to actually drop the box while you're doing it. I don't want to redo the entire level, so I'm just going to try it one time, and hopefully I get it. And then also the timing for this, like when you're moving left, the point when you jump is about here when Book is in line with the left edge of the spikes under her. Do you see that? So right about here, so like not like here, not right here, but like when Book's left edge is aligned with the left edge of the spikes. So let me try it, and I forget what the key process is for this, but I think it might be like just dropping it. Ooh, that was not it. Maybe something is wrong about that, but I'll keep going. So then down here, what I said back in my first deep dive tutorial was to throw the box off of here and then jump off of it like this. Unfortunately, you can't do this while just holding left though. You have to stall a little bit to step on the box. The fastest way to do it, and the way that I've used it pretty much ever since then, box jump. It's a little bit faster, especially if you don't hit the ledge. It's possible to just not bonk at all when you do that, without stalling either. However, even if you do bonk it, it is still a little bit faster than the strategy I mentioned earlier, like this. Let me see if I can get it. See if I can get one without bonking. Do it a couple more attempts if I can't do it. One more. Okay, that was a good one. I still bonked, but it was not for very long. Okay. So yeah, that's level 5. That's the new summon level 5. Pretty simple stuff, really. I think the next level... Okay, yeah, we're gonna go into two little kind of gimmicky ones now. In level 15, this is something I did, because also we just had our ObjectCon event as well, alongside the new record. This is something I went for there, but I didn't get, but it is a new strategy that I think could eventually be adopted, because it's a big one that saves 6 seconds. It's done in at least the book segment runs that I've did, and also it's used in the IL run for this level. And that is, as you might be able to guess if you've paid attention to the game at all, it's a wall clip. And it is on, it's through here. So what we do to set up for this is, first of all, we need to figure out what the setup is for Book. Hit bonking on the spike up here actually is, we need to do it, first of all, for the setup. And also, it's probably the hardest part of the trick, because if you mess it up, you have to go like right there. I just got it, but it's not really super reliable, so you want to know the setup for it. So like where Book is right now, you might see, how can I explain this? Her left heel is kind of in line with like that inner square within that platform. If you're in that position, like I am right now, I'm completely neutral, not moving anywhere, and then I hit space and right at the same time, you will bonk into the spike at the right time every single time. And it's worth noting that after that I kind of slid. You don't want to do that. You want to hit the wall and stay against the wall. So let me see if I can do that. Come on, dude. So let's land Book up. And just like that. That was perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. Doing this at full speed, it's kind of slow to actually like set up for it and then do the jump. So what we can do instead is just use that as kind of a guide. And let's say I end up jumping like a little bit over here. That might be okay. If I'm jumping like closer in, like closer towards the spikes, if I keep holding right, then I will eventually like hit the bottom of the spikes and die. So instead, I want to release right for a sec, and then bonk into the spikes. So let me see if I can kind of do that. Okay, that was not right. That was good, yeah. So what I did there was after I jumped, I realized I was a little bit to the right of that visual cue, so I just released right for a little bit. And that's something you just gotta get a feel for, but that is how you do it fast. Now for the clip itself, what you want to do is you want to press left for a few frames, and then press right for a few frames. This is important, such that Book immediately grinds to a halt. So let me just show kind of what that looks like. So I hold left and press right. That wasn't quite right. You might have seen it, you can replay it. after I pressed right and released right, book a little bit to the left a little bit more, which means I didn't hold right after that long enough. I guess I could just do it in place here because I don't need to be aligned with the spike. So like that time was the opposite. I held right a little too long. Same thing there. That time it was not long enough. That was also not long enough. Also not long enough. Way too long. Too long. Too long. I think that was also too long. Come on. There. That was the one. And that you can see that one I just immediately grinded to a halt. You need that in order to do this trick. So let me go back down. Let me do this clip setup. And then that was not right. Let me see if I can just do it. I think that'll work. I think that was good. And then from there, like once you do that, it's all about timing your right press to the exact number of frames that you need. It is frame perfect from here. So in this case, I think it's probably like 2 frames I need to hold it for. Okay, so if I did the turnaround and the clip setup right, this should clip in. Boom. And that's how you do the clip. This trick is very difficult, and understandably, it's not consistent at all, really, unless you're really good at these like super frame perfect stuff. I go for it in my book segmented, or not segment, yeah, book segment runs. I didn't go for it in my 929 record, but I did go for an object con. I managed to get the alignment with the spike, but I didn't get this turnaround thing right. I think I slid a little bit. But basically I'm saying this all because this will probably be one of the biggest locations for time save in the future of these runs. Besides obviously no mistakes. Let me see if I can get it right on the first try. Oh, I guess also there is one more thing I want to say about this. We can use the win token as a little visual guide to help speed things up a little bit more. So when I'm here, if you don't really know how clips work, it involves moving book just barely to the right of the wall, but not far enough to the right that her upper collision actually registers with the block. It's kind of weird. But we can use that to our advantage here, because that means we're just a little bit further right, but that's enough to get the win token. And then we can immediately know if something went wrong. We can just immediately try it again before actually trying the clip itself, which would save a little bit of time if you're doing multiple attempts at it. And by the way, doing this strategy compared to going along the conveyor and flicking the switch, I think it takes like 3 tries to break even with it. That is to say, if you get it first try, you save a lot of time. If you get a second try, you still save time. Third try, not so much. Fourth try or later, you lose time. So yeah, nice little strategy is if I do this, then let me do that again. Okay, so I didn't get the win token there, even though I noticed everything else is right. So I know that wasn't gonna work. So let me do this, and then press right. Didn't work. Don't want to do that. It's not very good. That time I completely bypassed it, so that trick is, or that one's immediately. I'll do a few more attempts at this, but I'm not going to go too long, just for sake of time. That right there, I barely got the win token. That's how I know this clip is going to work. It's a really nice cue that you can really only use for this level, so I would say use it. It'll help you save time if you think you messed up. Great. So let's just move on with that for now. Let's beat the level first. Let's move on to level 18. There is something small here too. Also alongside using clips, but this time it's not a full block clip, it's just a corner clip. It's actually possible. So this spike that Book is up against right now, it's possible to clip into that, and that's used in the IL world record actually. Again, this is another kind of gimmicky one. I think I messed it up in my record, or it was Object, I don't remember which one. The setup for it though is kind of what you would do normally, like this. However, you might have noticed there I pushed up against this spike. The way to do this is to just not go onto any spikes, and then to get this jump here perfectly timed. But you gotta be careful here, because you gotta hit it with some acceleration. Or, you gotta hit it at full speed, which takes some acceleration. And that can be a little bit scary, because that means kind of the region of this spike, you don't have my cursor, the spike that Book is currently standing on, the space to land there is a little bit smaller, so you gotta be careful to not land on that, just like I did there, on that spike, or to just overshoot it completely, or do what I did there, but even though I'm buffering the jump, I hate this, by the way, even though, I gotta make sure my display's working, yes, good, even though I landed on the thing, but because I was buffering my jump, and it takes a few frames to register the jump, I just fell off. Anyway, though, if you do it right, like I did that there, then that means we know that maybe we have a chance to clip into the spike. And then from there, it just takes some quick mental processing to figure out whether or not it'll work. Let me explain what I mean by that. So, obviously here, how do I explain this? If you overshoot, if you think you're gonna overshoot, as in like you would jump so far that you hit the spike, which, let me see if I can make that happen. It can happen, and it has happened to me before. Okay, well, I mean, I think you get the point, though. If you jump too far, you hit the spike, and you die. If you don't jump far enough, there's a chance that because when you clip into the spike, you can't just jump right away, because, let's say I'm in the spike now, you wouldn't be able to make it all the way to the next platform. So you need to walk a little bit through that spike in order to get the jump. But because of that, you need to let go of your spacebar. So if you end up failing the trick, then you're just going to stay here for a little bit before you realize, oh crap, it didn't work, then I have to jump again. Which also loses a little bit of time. It would lose more time than the trick actually saves. It only saves like 0.3 seconds. But we're explaining it because it's funny. So if I go through it again, it's mostly just quick thinking to say, like, it's either choosing like whether to commit or whether to back off. So like if notice that we're way too far, it's like, okay, not going to work. You just keep holding spacebar. But then if you think it's going to work, it's basically just knowing about when to commit. Let me see if I can get an actual demonstration of this. So, something seems like weird right now. Am I explaining this wrong? I am explaining this wrong. Ah. Everything I said is still true, but it's on this spike, not that one. Yeah, so like the hitbox on the spike, or not the hitbox, the kind of landing zone is on like this area here. You want to try and avoid this spike, and you're clipping through that spike there. I'm so prepared for this. But yeah, so it's just knowing about when to jump and when to commit on here. So let me see if I can just get it to work. And again, you never want to hit the sides of any of the previous spikes, which makes the strat a little bit more difficult. But yeah, like, so that's what I was talking about, the acceleration. That's what makes this more difficult, is landing on that spike here. See, that was, I overcommitted. Again, that's annoying. Overcommitted again. That was an example where I committed, but I let go of spacebar, so I lost a little bit of time. I would have lost a little bit of time just walking here looking stupid. If I don't get this in the next few tries, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, if you actually want to see it happen, check out the IL for this level by, I think, Copper Salts. Come on. 2 more tries. 1 more try. Okay, that was a bad demonstration, but yeah. It's basically just a swaggy trick. It doesn't save much time at all, but it's cool, so I talked about it. Okay, let's move on. I gotta look at what's next. Yes, 24. Very small thing in 24. So I'll kind of go over the strat normally. So I go over here like this. Then I unlock the HPRC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 throws like that. Go up here. And then what I talked about was a throw jump. If I can do it. Throw jump, backwards throw, which looks cool by the way. Switch to book, move her to the edge, bring match up like that. There's a faster way to do that. If I go back down here, it's possible to use a jump switch instead, which, as a reminder, is space Z up, like that, space Z up. That doesn't quite get enough height, like if you see how I'm like barely not getting there just because. But now if I could instead switch to book, like if I did this and I switched to book, oop, that's the actual strat. Foreshadowing. Okay, well that's a strat. Essentially what you can do is you can do the jump switch and then do an extra up Z at the end. Now, you might notice this is not actually a grab boost because you never have that up Z up sequence. I mean you do, but instead of doing a throw switch catch, you do a catch switch catch. And it's extremely forgiving. Like look at this, it's working every time. So what that would look like in action is match would be down here, book would go over here, match would go over here, book picks up match, and then you do the trick. And I guess also, with that up Z up at the end, you gotta do it kinda late. Later than you think. Or else you won't get enough height. But if you do it really late, then it works. And it's pretty consistent. However, this jump switch method actually has an additional benefit. Let's restart the level. Let's say I do these throws, but a little bit too slow. And I end up having to stack on the lower level below here. So then what I used to do, I didn't really talk about this in the deep dive, I don't think, but you'd have to throw book up here, move her over like this, and then do that. We can get up there using a jump switch grab boost, okay, which as a reminder is jump switch grab boost, obviously, which looks like, oh my god, come on. Yeah, it's a little bit tough. You have to go kind of far out because you will have a net rightward movement, just like that. Just like that. I didn't need this in either ObjectCon or my record, but it is a nice backup that I did use on the grind up to the 929. Just like that. And I guess the last thing that I'm going to mention here, because I'm going to bring it up more as well, on long straightas like this, when we have just book and match, the fastest way to move laterally is just to spam Z up, like this. The reason to explain that is a little bit hard, but like let's take book for example. Let's say book is going to pick up match here. Look where match is now, and look where she ends up. Significantly more in book's direction. So essentially we can just abuse that and move a little bit further ahead at a faster rate than we would normally. So that's why on like long straightas like this, I'm always just spamming, because it's very slightly faster. Great. Let's move on to the next level, which I think is... Oh great, it's 29. Yes, 29, it's very small change. And the rest of this is normal. I'm just going to see if I can do it first try. See if I can make this cycle. Nice. So that's the fast cycle. Alright, so then everything happens here. So the world record itself completely botched this part, but you have this as you normally do. I can't believe that worked, wow. And then, so like obviously I'm busy making mistakes during this in the record, and I also screw this next thing up. But normally what I do is I would do a throw jump, and then I would get matchup like this. What I went for instead, which I got second try, was a throw jump grab boost. So throw jump grab boost. Normally those are pretty risky to do, especially just in open space. Like if I was doing it over here, it would be very dangerous or very risky. What really is nice here though is because I have this little wall to my advantage. Grab boosting is always easier when you're against a wall, and this case is no different, which is why I could just do a throw jump grab boost here. A jump switch grab boost is a lot easier because it only requires 3 up presses rather than 4. So like notice like you can look at my inputs. So throw jump grab boost. I did a 5th throw at the end, but it's 4 up presses versus the jump switch, which is 3. But why do I do a throw jump here? Why not just do a jump switch grab boost? And the reason is just because of how things line up. So after I grab match, I'm like this. You could do a throw jump and then a jump switch grab boost, because at that point when you're up here and Book is holding match, and this is really the only way to do jump switch grab boosts, because one, you get more height in the actual jump switch itself, but also after the jump switch, match is holding Book, which is a much easier mini grab boost to perform than Book holding match. Yeah, I think that's what I said. But the reason I do it is because I just find it easier to do a jump switch onto the HPRC and then a throw jump grab boost over here. So it really is personal preference. You could easily just do a throw jump and then a jump switch grab boost, which is probably easier anyway. But yeah, and then I guess the other thing is, again, spamming Z and up on the way through here. And that's level 29. That's everything new there. Not a whole lot. I'm going to take a quick break because I need to use the bathroom. Alright, I'm back. I've already spent like way too much time doing this, so I'm going to try and rapid through the rest. Alright, so what's next? Oh, it's 31. Okay, well, maybe I won't be rapidly going through 31. Well, maybe I can. Let's just do it. So this beginning part is the same, and then what I used to do, obviously, I mean this is the normal way, I would bring Book up like this, get her up here, and then normally there's like a setup here, but you'd go over here, flick the switch, come back, and then you do a clip here, and then just win the level. We can do a different clip, and this one will be a much better clip, more powerful. And that is clipping match through here, and then do a, yeah, just like that in the first try. Wow, and then you would do a skinny clip into there. So let me talk about the setup for this real quick. Oh, excuse me. And this will be used again later. So let me restart the level. So I'm in like this, and I'm currently controlling his match, and then I want to do a throw. I want to do a throw jump, not a catch, when match is about, like, right here. You can kind of look at the gray tiles right about there. Look at the gray tiles to see where I am. I want to throw right about there, and that's enough so that match can hit this trampoline while also grazing the yellow blocks, which is important. And then the clip setup here is when you hit the yellow blocks, you want to do a quick left-right motion like this, so that way you you land on the yellow blocks after pressing left, and again, this is important, after grazing the yellow tiles. Once you're here, it's all about doing the frame perfect left press to clip into the spikes. It's really pretty simple as long as you can do it. It takes some practice though, getting the exact feel for it. And then I guess the other thing is that there are some, or based on exactly where you end up on these yellow blocks, will dictate how likely it is you'll get the clip. And I like to measure this in terms of like the number of frames. So like I'm looking at this, I believe this is going to be 3 frames. I need to hold left for exactly 3 frames in order to get the clip. So like let me just try it. That was too long. Okay. But yeah, I've kind of measured these out, so I can just, I guess maybe I can just show. So like that's a 3 framer. And I know that because Match's left heel is kind of like right up against vertically the yellow blocks. This is a 2 framer. Actually, I have to just do these facing right. That's a 2 framer. That's a 1 framer. That's a 3 framer. That's a 5 framer. I think that's a 4 framer. It's a bit difficult to tell. I think probably because I'm not aligned with the tiles anymore. Or maybe not aligned with the tiles, aligned for the clip. Like that's a 4 framer. And I know because she's a little bit to the right, but you can't really see a whole lot of floor space in between. After 5 frames, it's kind of a crapshoot at that point. It's hard to really predict. But each of these have like different qualities. Personally, I try to avoid, that's perfect, I try to avoid the 1 framers. Just because I'm really bad at holding the button for exactly 1 frame. But more importantly, actually, is that 2 frames, just like that, they never work. I have never gotten them to work. I don't think there's a setup for them. So whenever this happens, I just abort right away. Always. Like, again, that's another 2 framer. Just give up, try again. And yeah, and then by the way, when going down, just real quick, make sure you hit the trampoline and make sure you, again, graze the yellow blocks. But yeah, so not only do 1 framers, not only are they hard for me to do, but they're also really hard to like replicate because if you're any further to the left, you fall off, and if you're 1 frame more to the right, you get an impossible setup. However, if you do get the 1 frame clip or want the 1 frame setup, they pretty much always work. Like if you get that 1 frame tap, almost certainly you're gonna clip. However, both 3 frames and that's 5 frames and 4 frames, 3 and 4 frames usually work. And because that's a 2 frame window, I usually aim for that one instead. 5 frames never works. 6 frames sometimes works, honestly past that, it's just whatever. Usually I don't really try. But yeah, so 3 to 4 frame is about what I aim for. And then from there, just making sure you hold the button for exactly 3 frames, or exactly 4 frames, or exactly 1 frame. And yeah, that's really it. So let me just do an example of show, and I'll kind of walk through it slowly. So I'm going to do a throw drop in that location I talked about earlier, do the left, right, didn't make it, okay. Do another one. That's a 3 framer. And that was perfect. I did everything right, but it just didn't clip. Just happens sometimes. I think it depends on this left-right you do at the start, like holding left for exactly some number of frames. This is another 3 framer, and I got it that time. I'm going to come back out, just do a couple more. That one's really far to the right, I'm just going to toss that one. Do it again. That's a 5 framer, just going to keep going. That's a 1 framer. Got it. And just like that, I clipped as expected. That's a 4 framer. Didn't get it though. I don't know if I hit the wall there. I guess we'll figure out here. I think this is a 4 framer. Okay, didn't get it right anyway. And also, if you don't get it, I think your alignment is all messed up now, so you just have to restart. Although I don't necessarily know if that's true all the time. That's a 3 framer. Got it. Didn't get the clip. 3 framer again. Didn't get it. Unfortunate. 2 framer. Scratch it immediately. 3. Boom. And then from here, again, it's just doing a skinny clip. So we're going to switch to book and just grab match through the wall. Great. So that's 31. What's next? 35. Oh yeah, this one's super minor. But basically in 35, there is a fast cycle that you can make. As far as I'm aware, it's not possible to do this without using any kind of test strats or whatever. And it's barely possible, and the cycle involves getting under... Oh, can y'all see it from here? Ah, boo. There's a slime over there, which we will get to. But I wanted to cover something that I didn't cover in my deep dive originally, that is pretty much necessary for making the setup just because it is so close. What am I doing? Okay, so I gotta do this grab boost thing. And there's the slime right there that we need to worry about for this cycle. And then what I want to talk about is the movement through this section here. Because like what you'd maybe intuitively do is like you would run into the wall, maybe like drop book and go through here and then like switch to book or something. I don't know. The fastest way to get through though, I have to move this out of the way, is to throw a book at the right position, about there. That was too late. About right there, you can see book kind of slipped under this block here. If you can do that, that's the fastest way to get through the section, because once match is around here, book is already pretty far in, and that gives you a lot more frames to work with, which is pretty important just because, like I say, this is such a close cycle to make. So knowing how to get through there is important. And just so our bases are covered, I'm going to try and make this fast cycle now. Okay, on pace. Got that. Oh no! But then I buffered my jump, and while I was under the ceiling, so I guess the word for that is I jumped too early. Dude, come on. Yeah. So remember, with that grab boost, book needs to fall all the way at the bottom. Like that. No, not like that. Oh, it did. Wow. My movement down here, though, was pretty much ideal. I'm very surprised that worked. Wow. But yeah, so that's something you need to do. Nothing really here is different. If you're crazy, you can do grab boost here, but I don't, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Next is level 36. Pretty much the idea here is very similar to 35. It's just hitting the spike, doing the exact same setup. And then, instead of doing the clip with match, doing it with book now, so the exact frames, like the 3 frame, the 4 frame, whatever, a little bit different here to tell in terms of like visual cues. I think this is a 3 framer. Like, I don't know. I moved around, so that's going to be off. But I guess I could just kind of show. I think that's a 3 framer. Yep, probably. That's a 1 framer. Didn't get it. I think that's a 2 framer, so I think I'm gonna try it. Didn't work. That's a 3 framer. Should work. Good. Oops. I think that's a 2 framer. They never work. That's a, I don't know what the hell that is, framer. I think it might be a 5 framer. I think it was. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But then I'll also cover the movement afterwards. Not really because it's difficult, but because it's just good to know, I guess. As a 2 framer didn't work. Also important to mention here, I didn't say this for 31. I think the break-even point there is 4 attempts. So like if it takes you 4 attempts to get, you can usually expect that to be just as fast as the old version of the strategy or the normal version. This one is also about 4. So if you do 4 attempts, it's basically as fast as if you didn't do it at all. So, I mean, at this rate, I'm way below what it should be, but this should clip. It didn't clip? Aww. That clipped. I think that was a 4 framer. So then afterwards here, basically the important thing to note here is that we can completely skip this room now which is huge news because this is one of the scariest rooms, or scariest parts of the entire run normally. Something else that's important to note is that if you do this section fast enough, you can, and if you flick the switch like immediately, obviously because I waited here it's not going to be the case, but it sometimes happens that match reaches this area well before the HPRCs. So if you do this, if you flick this like right away, the HPRC might not get through. So you have to make sure to wait, not just for match, but for the HPRC as well. Let me see if I can get that to happen. Perfect. Just like that, I flicked it a little too fast. So, no bueno. So just make sure you do that, and actually the rest of the level is exactly the same as it normally is. Obviously, match being long gone is a kind of a problem, so I'm just going to quit here. But yeah, so that's 36. Anything else that's new? 38. Yeah, 38 has slightly different movement at the end. So again, we're doing the 3-back setup here. So we need to get Book up there so that, let me just do it. No, I'm not going to do it yet. We need to get Book up there so that we can just jump up there with Match. And I thought you needed a grab boost to do that, starting with Book, which remember, the grab boosts where you start by carrying with Book are harder than if you start with carrying with Match. However, you don't actually need a grab boost. You just need a very high jump switch. Just like that. And from my experience, that's way easier. However, like I said, it needs to be a high jump switch, so not any jump switch will work. Specifically, what works is if you jump and then immediately switch after, and then grab Book as late as you can, and then throw as early as you can. So you'll notice there, like I said, like you can't just jump and then switch like later. It has to be immediately because that's how you get the most height. And then I think there I grabbed Book a little too late, or no, early, and that's why I lost height a little too quickly and I couldn't throw Book up. So yeah, it'll just take some time to grind. It's also kind of difficult to do fast, but even just hesitating a sec, I think that's what I did in my record. I just took a little pause, and then I did it. That's a lot better than just, you know, yeah. But then one more thing to mention, I didn't do this in my record or at ObjectCon or whatever. It is possible to get up here using a jump switch grab boost, followed by one more Z up, so an additional switch. It is possible, but it's kind of hard. But I think it might be done in the future because it will save like a lot of time. We'll save like 3 or 4 seconds, which is pretty big. And if you mess it up, you break even if you get the second try. Just like that. Wow, that was great. Again, though, you need really good height on the jump switch and the grab boost. And you need to do the Z up. You don't want to rush the Z up or else you won't get as much height as you normally be able to. That's it for 38. Let's keep going. Let's wrap this up. Next is... oh, there's a bunch in a row. 39. Yes, 39 is not that bad. So I already kind of talked about the strat that I went for in my 929 record, in my 951 record, even though I didn't go for it there. Oh, gross. Oh. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Basically, with that strat, there is an additional thing that makes it significantly easier to do. So the strat is that I talk about is doing that. Just getting over here, saving a little bit of a cycle. Let me see if I can get it. Ooh, that's... ignore that. Okay, well, okay, now I'm only getting it the way that I want to talk about. There's a glitch in this game where if you're like this, specifically while with Book carrying Match, not the other way around, and that's because the top of Book is still lower than the top of Match. Obviously here that's not the case. The top of Match is way higher than the top of Book. If both of them are like kind of like close to the ceiling, and then you grab Match, such that you would now be more in the ceiling, you kind of stick to the ceiling. It's a really weird phenomenon, but maybe I could just show it. So like, you could that one didn't happen. That one kind of happened. That one definitely did happen. You could see that Book was kind of accelerating downward at like the normal rate, but then she grabbed Match and started accelerating downward a bit less. That's the entire crux of this new strategy, which is grabbing Match a little bit earlier than I would instead normally, and just like that, getting a little bit of that extra boost due to the stickiness in the ceiling. So yeah, that makes the strat a little bit easier, and now viable enough to go for a run. So I'll beat the level using it real quick. Oh yeah, and then I guess also down here, I don't know what I was trying to say last time, but jump switch grab boost is the fastest, or probably easiest way to do this, at least for me. It's kind of nice because you don't need to get maximum height, which means it's a pretty forgiving thing to do. And so, oh my god, I said I would beat the level. No. That was a very good 39. A little water break. I don't know why I drank it like that, that was weird. 40 is next. A couple different things in 40. So what I used to do, I think I talked about this in the 951 maybe, if not that, then I think the part 3 one. Grab boost here, if I can get it. And then you do a switch here, grab boost there, and then a grab boost there. We can make this a little bit easier and faster. So instead of doing this grab boost at the start, which doesn't quite work because it's so precise, we can do a jump switch grab boost instead. A little bit more inputs, but generally it's more forgiving. Again, just like level 39, you don't need to get maximum height, which means that the trick is, like I said, more forgiving. You have more frames to work with in the grab boost. But yep, so then the rest is the same. You flick the switch, you go over here. Well, actually, no, you don't go over there. I forgot. There is another time save here, which I forgot to go for in my record, I think. I don't know why I didn't do it. But essentially, you can do another jump switch grab boost. That's what it's called over here. Again, it's not, it's not that tight in terms of timing. It's pretty forgiving. Like, obviously, you actually need height this time, but you don't need, like, maximum height. So, I find this pretty reliable. And it saves, like, half a second or so, so I go for it. Why not? And then there I would just keep doing a normal grab boost. There. And that's a very good 40. Is 41 different? I don't think so. 41's not, but 42 is different. For a very small reason. Actually, no, there's a couple things. So in 24 and 29, I talked about doing this kind of movement to move laterally a little bit faster. That's used at the beginning here, because if I do the normal strategy, which is this, I almost got that, wow. To break that down, you can watch the previous, I think, part 5 of the deep dive. That timing is super tight, especially when you're first just going into the level. You need to do this grab at the start immediately. And that's very hard. And just losing a couple frames can ruin the entire level. So what I've been doing instead is chaining a couple of these Z's. So like normally you'd have to do one in order to get to the match holding book, the easy grab boost setup. I do 3 instead to get that this little extra motion here. And from my experience, that makes it a little bit more forgiving when it comes to doing the actual jump itself. You have a few more frames to work with, and it's less likely you'll be late. However, it has its trade-offs because it's more inputs. That means there's more room to mess up. So it's not the best thing in the world, but I find it to be pretty consistent, and also it saves quite a bit of time. It's like 3 seconds. So it's worth going for in runs. Next, onto this section, which I'll just do what I did last time, and that is something like this. Actually, not like that. Imagine I didn't jump and Ice Cube is still down below. You can't see my cursor. Imagine Ice Cube didn't jump. Now go up here, then do that. Yeah, whatever. Let's do this better. Nice, that's clean. So, instead of just jumping, letting go of spacebar, and then switching to book, like that, I'm going to buffer the jump, which will then instead look like this. Like that. Notice how everyone's a level up now. I didn't spend a bunch of time having to jump afterwards, right? And this obviously makes the end a little bit faster, because then I can get up like this. And then also something that is a little bit faster is to switch to match a little bit before book gets into the door, because we can move the rest of book into the door with Ice Cube. We bring Ice Cube up, then Ice Cube's up there, we move book in like that. Ideally though, book wouldn't jump because, as you can see, that slowed it down a little bit. Then we do 42 one more time all together after I talk to Ice Cube. Just like that. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, 45 is different. Why is 45 different? Yes, very small change in 45. So, as I've kind of talked about before, this jump over the spike is super precise. Like, I'm getting it actually very consistently here, but there's only a couple frames to work with in order to get it. I was like, oh my god, this jump is so hard. You gotta make sure you nail it right away, right? Let's just buffer the jump. Buffer it, and boom, you get it every time. Literally every time. So, actually, it's not hard at all. It's actually free. And that's it for 46, or 45. Alright, we're almost done. On to 48. Very small thing in 48 as well. So I talked about how you have to do this strategy to grab Ice Cube, right? However, it is possible that if you don't get a high enough jump, it won't work. Actually, maybe this isn't actually anything at all. I've been changing it so that instead of just doing this where you never press left at all, you can press left with match when you're at the top there. I'm not actually sure about it anymore, but I thought it would give you a better chance to grab Ice Cube because you're actually facing her now. Although I'm not sure that's actually true, because it seems like even when I'm really far to the right, I'm still kind of grabbing her. I guess if you move book over, then you need to press left. Oh, I have a soundtrack. We've had a soundtrack, I guess. This is a banger song, by the way. It's called Black Magic. Very good. Black Magic Anima Drop remix. Shout out to Anima, by the way. But this is not them. I love this song, I'm sorry. Okay, let's move on. I think 52 is the last one left, so let's talk about 52. Oh, there's a wall, that's right. Okay, well, I'll kind of show what's going on. The beginning is all the same here. I did this in ObjectCon. It's possible to grab this win token without losing time. I didn't get it, though. This jump here is the scariest jump in the entire game with Ice Cube. You have to throw Ice Cube across here to the lever, only a few frames to work with, and this is the literal last moment, unless it's a super close run where you can lose, like, a lot of time. As in, like, contrary to, like, if you mess up over here and you lose, like, a couple seconds, you lose 13 seconds if you miss this jump. However, Ice Cube is actually not the easiest character to do this with. It's with Match because Match is lighter than Ice Cube. Match is, I think, the lightest character, and Ice Cube is the heaviest. I have always done it with Ice Cube. It was actually kind of like a rivalry between, like, me and Ant Ladders, like when we had our little exchange. I kept using Ice Cube because I was very insistent that it was faster. But I think Ant kept doing it because it was safer, or he was used to it. But like I thought there was no way that doing it with match was faster, just because the setup with or the movement afterwards with Ice Cube was so much simpler, which it was, and it still is. However, using this Ice Cube method led to one of my world record chokes after the 951. I would have gotten like a 945 if I didn't do that. So, I decided, you know what, I gotta find a new strategy with match, because it's so much easier with match. You have so many more frames to work with. And I found something that's pretty fast. I thought it was still a little bit slower than the Ice Cube strategy, but now I'm actually second guessing that because I managed to get a gold split on this level with the match strategy inside of the book strategy, or inside the Ice Cube strategy. So let me show that off. So yeah, once you're down here, once you get to match, you want to immediately, so let's say I'm coming in like this, you want to drop Ice Cube and grab match. Throw match across, you have Ice Cube, throw Ice Cube up to preferably the stair that she's on. If she's, oh crap, if she's down there, it's a little bit harder, but let's just assume for now Ice Cube is there. I have to redo the level now because I'm a genius. Drop Ice Cube, grab match, throw match over, throw Ice Cube, and then again we want to do this kind of slingshot with the conveyor. So now we switch to match, and flicking this lever was always my big problem. Like, there's not really a great way to do this. Except there is, and it's really easy. We just hold right here, grab Ice Cube, and it's just naturally flipped. I can't remember, if you hold right, does it flick the lever back? It doesn't. Yeah, so it's super free instead. So, do this, and now we could just keep going. However, preferably, in like the old strategy, for example, we throw Ice Cube up here before we land on the springs, and that just makes the whole movement a little bit more fluid. However, if I do it one more time, you can see that if I just hold jump, she does a stupid thing where she skids off the block when you're buffering your jump. So, what we do to combat that is just, we're holding right, but then we release with right just for a tiny fraction of a second. And then we should be able to get this jump. Hopefully I can do this like my last try to do it, I guess, before the world ends. And there we go. And then, again, you just have to throw Ice Cube. And there is actually one more thing. I don't think I have time to cover it. I'm just going to do it one more time so you can see the movement. Southern California's got plenty of heat right now. I don't even know if you can hear this song. I hope you can. Anyway, so that was that section. I did it pretty much ideally, and it's, as you can see, it's pretty fast. So now, what I did in the past is switch to Ice Cube and walk Ice Cube all the way down here and down here, right? Turns out that's not actually necessary to go all the way. So again, we switch to Ice Cube here, but once we're here, we just leave her there. And that's because after we do this, it turns out we can save time here. I remember this actually, it was kind of funny. It was like, Copper Salts did this one time, and they're just like, hey, this is known, right? No, it was not known. No one has ever done this before. So it's really funny. She just found this like random ass 1.5 second time save right at the end of the run, which is super funny. So what you can do is basically you can drop match down here, drop match, and grab Ice Cube. If I get match, dude, like this. It's actually possible to, I don't have match anymore. It's possible to do it by dropping match and then picking Ice Cube up in the same rightward motion. However, for my experience, that's kind of precise. So I release right real quickly just to halt. I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but if I didn't do that, then there's a bit of a higher chance that you wouldn't grab Ice Cube in time and you would just fall down. Then you have to do like some mechanics to just get Ice Cube from when you're down at the door. So I just do a slight right release at the end there to make that a bit easier. So let me do this level as a whole with that, so you can see it. So we got throw, okay. Yeah, so this doesn't quite work, so I'm just gonna move Ice Cube up there, do this, slight right release there, come on. Go down. Oh, time's coming up, time's coming up. So then we grab this, and we're gonna drop match, slight right release, and then pick her up, and boom. We beat the game! So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything there is to say about this new record. Yeah, I think that's pretty much every new strategy. So that's like pretty much 3 years culminated of work done in this game and the 80% run. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and yeah, happy 5 being. Woohoo!